2 hours before my wedding, my father-in-law slipped my fiancé a plane ticket. I stood in the bridal suite, my dress a cascade of ivory lace, staring at the mirror but not really seeing myself. My heart was pounding, not from nerves about the vows or the crowd, but from the way Richard, my fiancé, had frozen when his father handed him that slim envelope. It was subtle, the exchange, tucked into a corner of the bustling venue, but I caught it. Richard's eyes widened, his jaw tightened, and he shoved the ticket into his pocket like it was a live grenade. I didn't confront him then. I couldn't. My maid of honor, Jess, was fussing with my veil, and the photographer was barking orders. But my gut churned with questions. Why a plane ticket? Why now? Why? Let me back up. I'm Emily, 29, a graphic designer from Seattle. Richard and I met 3 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue, bonding over burnt burgers and a shared love for cheesy 80s music. He's a software engineer, steady and kind, with a laugh that makes you feel like everything's going to be okay. We got engaged last summer, and planning this wedding felt like a marathon we ran together, picking the venue, a rustic barn just outside the city. Arguing over cake flavors, he wanted chocolate, I held firm on lemon, and navigating his family's quirks, his parents, Tom and Linda, are old school, East Coast transplants who never quite warmed to me. Linda once joked that I was too artsy for their practical son. Tom, though, was harder to read, quiet, intense, always watching. I figured it was just his way, but now, with that plane ticket in play, I wasn't so sure. The morning of the wedding had been a blur. I woke up at dawn, adrenaline buzzing, and spent hours getting ready with my bridesmaids. Richard was in the groomsmen's suite across the venue, presumably doing whatever guys do before a wedding, drinking whiskey, tying ties badly. Everything felt normal until I saw Tom pull Richard aside. They stepped into the hallway, Tom's hand on Richard's shoulder, his voice low. I only caught a glimpse through the half-open door, but it was enough. The envelope, the ticket, Richard's face. I tried to focus on the moment. Jess was chattering about how perfect the day was, how the September light made everything glow, but my mind was elsewhere. Where was that ticket to? Was it for him? For us? Richard hadn't said a word about travel plans. Our honeymoon was already booked, a week in Hawaii, leaving tomorrow. This felt different, secretive, wrong. As the clock ticked closer to the ceremony, I found myself alone for a moment in the suite. My phone buzzed with texts from my mom, my sister, everyone but Richard. I wanted to march over to him, demand answers. But what would I even say? Hey, why'd your dad give you a plane ticket like it's a mob movie? It sounded ridiculous in my head, yet the weight of it sat heavy in my chest, like a stone I couldn't dislodge. I heard a knock. Jess poked her head in. You ready? It's almost time. Her smile faltered when she saw my face. You okay? Yeah, I lied, smoothing my dress. Just nerves. But as I stepped into the hallway, my eyes locked on Richard at the far end. He was adjusting his tie, laughing with his best man, but his hand kept drifting to that pocket, the one with the ticket, and I knew, right then, that whatever was happening, it wasn't just nerves. Something was coming, and I wasn't sure I was ready for it. The ceremony was supposed to be the moment everything fell into place, but as I walked down the aisle, the plane ticket loomed larger than the bouquet in my hands. The barn was glowing with fairy lights, guests beaming, and the soft strum of acoustic guitar filled the air. Richard stood at the altar, his smile wide but his eyes darting, like he was searching for an exit. I forced myself to focus on the vows, on the weight of his hand in mine, but my mind kept circling back to that envelope. What was he hiding? The officiant's words blurred as I studied Richard's face. He was saying all the right things. I promise to love and cherish you, but his voice cracked on forever, and I wondered if anyone else noticed. My own vows felt heavy, each word a choice to trust him despite the gnawing doubt. When we kissed, the crowd cheered, but his lips were tense, and his hand lingered on that damn pocket. At the reception, I tried to shake it off. Jess dragged me to the dance floor, and for a moment, I let the music drown out my thoughts. Richard was mingling, laughing with his cousins, but I caught him glancing at his father across the room. Tom was nursing a whiskey, his gaze fixed on Richard like a hawk. Linda, meanwhile, was chatting up my mom, all smiles. But I didn't buy it. Something was off, and it wasn't just my imagination. I cornered Jess by the dessert table. "Did you see anything weird with Richard and his dad earlier?" I asked, keeping my voice low. She frowned, popping a macaron in her mouth. "Weird how? Like, they argued?" "No, just Tom gave him something, an envelope, looked like a plane ticket." Jess's eyes widened. "What, like runaway groom vibes?" I shushed her, glancing around. "I don't know, it's probably nothing, right?" But Jess's face said otherwise. You need to talk to him. Now." I nodded, but my stomach twisted. Confronting Richard in the middle of our wedding felt insane, yet ignoring it felt worse. I found him by the bar, alone for once, stirring a drink he wasn't drinking. "Hey," I said, forcing a smile. "You okay? You seem off?" His eyes flicked to mine, then away. "Just tired. Big day, you know?" I took a breath, steadying myself. "Richard, I saw your dad give you something earlier, an envelope. What was it?" For a split second, his face froze, like a deer in headlights. Then he laughed, too loud. "Oh, that? It's nothing. Just a wedding gift thing. You'll see later." "Richard," I pressed, my voice sharper. "It was a plane ticket. I saw it." His smile vanished. He opened his mouth, but before he could answer, Tom appeared, clapping a hand on Richard's shoulder. "There's my son. Emily, you stealing him already?" The interruption felt deliberate. Richard's jaw clenched, and he muttered, "We'll talk later, Em." Then he let Tom pull him away, leaving me standing there, my heart racing. As the night wore on, the tension grew. Richard avoided me, sticking close to his groomsmen or his parents. I danced. I smiled. I cut the cake, but it was all a performance. Every time I looked at him, his hand was in that pocket, and every time I looked at Tom, he was watching me. By the time the last guests trickled out, I was done pretending. Whatever that ticket meant, I was going to find out before we left for Hawaii, before we started our life together, because if Richard was keeping secrets, I needed to know why. The reception was winding down, the barn now half empty, with only a few stragglers swaying to the last songs. My wedding dress felt heavy, like it was anchoring me to a moment I wasn't sure I wanted anymore. I'd had enough of Richard's evasions, his father's watchful eyes, the weight of that unseen plane ticket. I needed answers, and I needed them now. I found Richard outside, near the venue's garden, where the fairy lights cast long shadows. He was alone, staring at the ground, his tie loosened. The envelope was in his hand now, no longer hidden, and my heart sank. Whatever this was, it wasn't nothing. "Richard," I said, my voice steady despite the storm in my chest. "We need to talk, right now." He looked up, his face pale, and for a moment I thought he'd bolt. But he nodded, tucking the envelope back into his pocket. "Okay, let's talk?" I didn't waste time. "What's with the plane ticket? Why did your dad give it to you? And why are you acting like it's some dirty secret?" He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "It's not what you think. It's complicated." "Then uncomplicate it," I snapped, my patience gone. "We just got married. Richard, if you're keeping something from me, I deserve to know." He hesitated, his eyes searching mine, and then the words spilled out. "It's a ticket to Boston. One way. Dad gave it to me because he thinks I should take a job there, a big offer from a tech firm. He says it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance." I blinked, processing. A job in Boston and you didn't tell me? I was going to, he said quickly. I swear, I just didn't know how. Dad's been pushing me for weeks, saying we could start fresh, that it's better for our future. He gave me the ticket today to force my hand. Force your hand? My voice rose, drawing a glance from a passing waiter. We have a life here. Richard. In Seattle. We planned a honeymoon, a future. And your dad thinks he can just, what, buy you a ticket and make you leave me? It's not about leaving you, he said, stepping closer. He thinks you'd come with me. That we'd both go. I laughed, sharp and bitter. Oh, that's rich. Did he forget to mention that to me? Or did you? Richard flinched. I didn't agree to it. I told him I'd think about it, but… You thought about it. I cut him off, my hands shaking. You stood there, saying your vows, knowing you were considering moving across the country without even talking to me? It's not like that, he pleaded. I love you. I want us to be together. But Dad, he's relentless. He thinks I'm throwing away my potential if I stay here. I stared at him, the man I'd just married, and felt a crack in my heart. This wasn't just about a job or a ticket. It was about trust, about whether Richard was truly mine or still tethered to his father's control. And then I saw Tom, standing by the barn's entrance, watching us, always watching. I turned back to Richard, my voice low. Did you keep that ticket because you're actually considering it? Be honest. He looked down, his silence louder than any answer. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't over. The ticket wasn't just paper. It was a choice, one Richard hadn't made yet. And I wasn't sure where that left us. The night air was cool against my skin as I stood in the garden, the weight of Richard's silence pressing down on me. My wedding dress, once a symbol of joy, now felt like a costume for a role I wasn't sure I could play. The plane ticket to Boston wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a fork in the road, and Richard's hesitation told me he wasn't fully on my path. I needed to know if we could still walk together. I turned to him, his face half lit by the fairy lights. Richard, I need you to choose, right now. Is it us, our life in Seattle, our plans, or is it that ticket and whatever your dad wants for you? He swallowed hard, his eyes glistening. I love you. I want us. But I don't know how to stand up to him. He's always been like this, pushing me, making me feel like I'm failing if I don't follow his plan. My heart ached, not just for me, but for him, trapped under his father's shadow. But I couldn't let pity cloud what I needed. I'm not marrying your dad, Richard. I'm marrying you. If you can't choose me, choose us, then what are we doing? He stepped closer, his voice breaking. I choose you, I swear. I'll tell him no. I'll throw the damn ticket away. Then do it, I said, my voice firm but trembling. Right now? Show me. He hesitated, then pulled the envelope from his pocket. His hands shook as he tore it open, revealing the ticket. Boston, one way, leaving tomorrow. My stomach twisted at the sight of it, so real, so final. He looked at me, then ripped the ticket in half, letting the pieces fall to the ground. I'm done letting him control me, he said, his voice stronger now. I'm staying. With you. I wanted to believe him, but Tom's presence still lingered, a shadow we couldn't ignore. I nodded, taking his hand. Okay, but this isn't just about the ticket. You need to talk to him, set boundaries, or he'll keep pulling strings. Richard nodded, his jaw tight. I will, tonight. We went back inside, hand in hand, but the night wasn't over. Tom was by the bar, his eyes narrowing as we approached. Richard didn't flinch this time. Dad, we need to talk, he said, his voice steady. I stood back, watching as they stepped aside. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw Tom's face harden, then soften, his shoulders slumping. Richard gestured sharply, his voice rising just enough for me to catch my choice and my wife. When they finished, Tom walked away without a word, and Richard came back to me, his face a mix of relief and exhaustion. "He's not happy," Richard said, "but he gets it. I told him I'm staying, and he needs to respect that." I searched his eyes, looking for doubt, but found none. For the first time all day, I felt like I could breathe. "Okay," I said softly. "Let's go home." The next morning, we left for Hawaii, not just as newlyweds, but as partners who'd faced a crack in our foundation and chosen to mend it. The plane ticket was gone, but the lesson stayed. Love isn't just vows or rings. It's choosing each other. Every day, no matter who tries to pull you apart. Thanks for reading. Everyone, this was a wild ride to share. Drop a comment with your thoughts. Have you ever faced a moment like this? Like and share if you felt the drama.